Well, hello. I am haven't done one of these in a while, so I'm kind of messed up with my settings and everything. So hopefully I'm getting it right. Just looking at my face to make sure I'm well exposed. So I'm a little early, and that's because I wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing. So looks like nobody's in the chat yet, which is fine. I can't even tell if anybody's watching right now. Oh, there we go. Now I can see. So I guess we have two people watching. So like I said, I'm early, so I'm going to babble for a few minutes because it's officially supposed to start in a few more minutes. 9. Oh, welcome Stephen Feinen from Aachen from Germany. Hey, and I suppose it's afternoon where you are. Okay, I got to look over there to read my comments here. Hey, Matt, welcome. Tess, welcome. Tess, it's probably morning where you are. Der das Peter? No, you're not nobody. I just, like I said, I'm feeling awkward and haven't done this in a while and was just checking on my settings. And I only had 2 people up at first. Paul, welcome. Vix Clark has joined us. And Tess. And, oh, I already said hi to Tess. And Stefan Feinen says it's about 5 p.m. there. Yeah, that sounds about right. I've been part of an online pen club for the past year or so, based in the UK, and they're all thinking about going to supper about the time we're done. And I've just had breakfast, so it's just kind of wild how time zones work. Andrew Brendan, welcome from Bloomington, Indiana. Good. Got another American here. I also haven't had my morning coffee yet, so that's what this is. And I probably shouldn't put it on that table because that's where the microphone lives, so I apologize if that sounded horrible. I guess I'll set it on the floor here and hope I don't kick it over. So, just looking at the time. Oh, and welcome Matt J. Waz from Michigan. So you're probably in Central Time, so it's probably about 10 o'clock for you. And I'm just trying to interpret that. Yeah, I think you are close to where 5 p.m. also is. Good morning, Troy. Suzanne Anderson has joined us from Colorado Springs, which, we know where Colorado Springs is from the name. So I didn't have a big agenda. I've been wanting to do a video on music nibs for a while, and I just haven't yet. And I was going to film it this weekend, and then I thought, live stream. So I'm going to do it as part of a live stream because I want to get one of them cleaned out. I've got somebody that might be interested in buying. Might be. Maybe this video will scare them off. And I might have a couple other fun little things to look at laying around here. I have a president laying here. Let's see. What else we got here? Explorer Extraordinaire, welcome. Yeah, I'm definitely going to enjoy the weekend. Let's see. Jacob Sampson, hello. And yeah, I do have an agenda. I can't walk into one of these without some kind of a plan. That doesn't mean that I'll stick with the plan, but I have to have a plan first, and then I know, it's okay to deviate from it because this is more fun. But I don't just randomly go places and just, I wonder what's going to happen. I got to have a plan. Let's see. Will I sing today? I'll try not to. I get in trouble when I do that. Eastern, actually. Oh, so you're pretty close. Okay. Yeah, the Eastern time zone kind of seems like it wanders over there quite a ways. I know, I'm trying to remember when I would go west. Back when I used to drive from Pennsylvania to North Dakota, it seems like it was right around Chicago where the time zone changed, but I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've done that. Good morning, Chris Sains. Archivist, welcome. And, oops, sorry, I got to lean over here to read that. Shantanu Duttagupta from New Delhi. So I'm trying to think how many. Oh, that must be evening or maybe even night in India. And Okay, so Chicago's in Central Time. So it must be somewhere right on that border to Chicago, because I don't. Well, that driving in that area, I've never been a city driver, so that whole Chicago thing usually has me pretty freaked out, and I'm not even thinking about time zones. So, yeah. And let's see. Jacob Sampson used to be Indiana border, but there is now a western sliver of Indiana that's in a different. Oh, well, I suppose that makes sense because of the whole Chicago influence. Because the whole monetary thing, a lot of people work in Chicago. And Sajjad Hussein has joined us. Welcome. And 1600. Okay, 4 o'clock in the UK. Oh, yeah, that makes sense because I always join. It's 3 o'clock for them, and I always join in at 8 in the morning. So I don't know why I picked 9 this morning. I was up, but anyway. All righty, and good morning to Angry Bob from Regina, Saskatchewan. I'll try not to talk about Saskatchewan this time. All righty. So actually, Saskatchewan, I have heard Regina. Sorry to get on the. You may have guessed I've got a kind of an interest in Saskatchewan. I have actually heard that Regina and actually Saskatoon are supposed to be 2 really nice cities. You know, they're small enough that you're not scared in them. And when I say scared, I mean that whole I'm not used to driving in this big city type of thing. And just some very nice old buildings and cool shops. So someday, working on getting a passport. And so maybe when this pandemic's over and the border opens up, maybe I'll be able to get to places like that again. I used to love Brandon, Manitoba. And then there was Boissevain, which I would go through on the way, which is a small town, but I really liked Boissevain. So. And Brandon was a really nice town too. So anyway, so I thought I'd show off my a couple of music nibs, and then we'll see where this goes. And if I keep looking awkwardly off the screen for those of you just joining us, because it looks like we're up to 20 people, that's because I have to look over there to read the comments. Yeah, I'll get smart eventually and put the laptop right here, but for now I gotta switch back and forth. So we're gonna give you some dizzying camera effects here while I switch the camera down, because I only have one camera. Jyoti P. Chakravarti, and I don't know how to say that last part of your name. I'm sorry. Hello. Oh, that's because that's a number. Okay. Hello from Calcutta. Oh, good to have you. I recently reviewed a book on my channel that was set in Calcutta. It was written back when it's still spelled as Calcutta rather than Kolkata as it is now. So, Song of Kali by Dan Simmons. So anyway, we'll flip this down. I'm going to set my pens here so I know how this is all oriented. There we go. Looks like we're upright, sort of. And yeah, this isn't going to be as clean as it is when I'm doing my pen videos. So my 3 pens that I have, okay, a ham radio call sign. So probably a good thing I didn't try to pronounce it because I just would have ended up looking silly. So I only own 3 music nibs. I have this Sailor Ring 1911 ringless. I have a Platinum 3776, and I have this Noodler's Nippon set. Let me, there's a little light in this camera. So I just thought I'd see what it does. Didn't seem to make much difference, but whatever. All right, so first thing, we'll pull out my teacher hat for a minute. This is not a music nib. This is a Twisby 580. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Yes, that's what I'm about to cover. You are right. So the reason I pulled this pen out is it's a stub nib. You can see that there's no tipping on it, and it's just one time. Now, all of these pens are going to have ink in them already. These are all music nibs. So I'm going to pull out the Platinum first. And you can see, one of the things you can see is it has 2 tines, which is cool. Hello, ODE. Good to have you. Yeah, I thought I kind of like doing these in the morning. I'm just more awake, and my European people can join me then. So I'm trying to hold this still here. Okay, everything I do is backwards from the screen, so I'm kind of messed up. So yeah, I guess you're right, Jacob. There are 3 tines on it, which is what I was trying to say. There are 2 slits. The other thing you can see here, oh man, the other thing you can see here is that there is tipping. Now this one is a Noodler's. I never win contests. This is like the only time I've ever won a contest. I won this pen. One of my early pen videos, which is still on the channel somewhere, and it's very embarrassing. It was an art contest, and I got to win this. So the finish is Solomon Silver. It's one of Nathan Tardif's prototypes. So who knows? Maybe they're better now. But you can see here also 3 tines, and then the tipping. And this one, unlike the rest, is also a flex nib. And then this last one, and yes, Jacob was right about that. The Sailor is only going to have 2 tines. Oh, come on. Okay, autofocus does not like this one. So this is what I would edit out if I weren't live. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. So it liked all the others, just not the Sailor. There we go. Shamed it. So yeah, this only has 2 tines, but again, you see the tipping. So I guess the big advantage is supposed to be the tipping. I haven't figured out really much difference. I think the music nibs write a little bit wetter. Some of them, like this Sailor, have to be held up more high. So when I write with it, whoops, this one's almost out of ink. It gives a very broad writing, but it's kind of stubby. See, if I lay it down too far, it does that. So definitely a stub nib. Do the little oblique test. And well, let's see here. No flex to it at all. This is a cartridge filling pen. And yeah. Some people don't like their cartridges, but whatever. So the idea, I think, behind a music pen was originally, you could make your notes like that or whatever. Not a musician. I don't think this is a note. I think that should be filled in. I think I was thinking of a half note, which is like that. And then flats and sharps and all that stuff that I don't really know how to. Okay, once upon a time. Yeah, autocorrect gets me. The worst is when I'm trying to. When I try talking into my phone, because I hate typing on that tiny little screen because you're like forever with your fingers. And, yeah, then I have to fix it. But yeah, so yeah, you get what you pay for at this channel. So this one is also music nib. I happen to like just generally writing with this one better, this platinum. The Sailor, I will admit, I bought it. The color attracted me. So this one does not show off. It's not as wet as the Sailor, so it doesn't show off shading as well as the Sailor does. I put like Noodler's Apache Sunset in it once, and it was just flat and boring. Or Noodler's Black Rose and Australia. No, Black Rose and Australia. No, how's that go? Australian. I have no idea what I'm trying to say. It's an ink I even like too. Black Swan and Australian Rose. There it is. This one I don't have to hold upright as much as I do the Sailor nib. I can write at a more comfortable angle. But no, I like writing with it better, but I don't think the writing looks as good. Do I know how to draw a treble clef? Nope. Too hard. Maybe I could do a bass clef. Let's see if I remember which way the curly Q goes. Something like that. Or does it go the other way? Actually, let me sneak off screen for a second. I used to have an old book of hymns. Let me see if I still have it. Yes. So this is the exciting church service hymns. Apparently donated to whatever church it's from by Mr. and Mrs. Albert Pauls from East Heaton, Fresno, California. I don't mind sharing that because it's so old that I'm pretty sure they're not there anymore. But anyway, let's see. Bass clef. Yeah, treble clef. Nope. And, you got to be able to do all these symbols, these flats. Or no, that's a cancel the flat symbol. I forget what it's called. Natural? Those are flats. I don't see any sharps in this song. Oh, here's somebody's written. I think that has to do with guitar. I can read music, but I'm not real educated about music. So Shantanu Dudagupta says he likes my handwriting. I am performing for the camera. My normal writing is not this neat. If I'm just writing for me. People on this channel used to tell me to just stick with fine nibs because they said I was a bad writer for broads. But anyway, so let's get around to this Noodler's Neponset. Now, the one thing this has that the others don't have is it's a flex nib. Of course, with a Noodler's pen, if you're going to flex, you got to slow down while you're flexing. I don't think that's a normal thing with music nibs. I think that's a Noodler's thing because, he kind of single-handedly created this revival of flex nibs. And I kind of credit Nathan Tardif that all these other companies have now started offering their own versions of flex nibs. But that means it's not so much of a music writer. I mean, it'll do it, but it doesn't have that stub-like character of the other pens. Okay, so that's an archaic way to draw the bass clef. Usually these days it is mirrored. I'm going to assume you're talking about that. Let's see how old this book actually is. Well, it's a superior collection of hymns and gospel songs for every department of church work. Copyright 1948. So right after the Second World War. Okay, chord changes. Yeah, so I suppose to get it in the different, I don't know what, key. Okay, so confession time. When I did play clarinet when I was in school. That's the only musical instrument I know. I know what a piano does. I just and I know how they work. I just don't know how to play one, or an organ. Okay, so 1911. Yeah, this is an attractive pen. That's honestly why I bought it. It was supposed to go, as somebody said, with my Epinard ink, which strangely is stored in a Lamy bottle. No, is it? I don't remember now. Nope, it's not. That's black ink. Must be, yeah, which is now stored in a Pilot bottle. Sorry. Because I really hate those midgety little sailor bottles. They're good for like keeping paper clips in them or something. That's about it. Let's see here. JC, glad to have you. And yeah, the pond set's kind of fun. It's not one I ink up very often, but it is fun. It actually, if I were to take it apart for you, which I won't do because it's full of ink, not only does it have a double tines, it has a double slit in its nib. And I believe, I could be wrong about this, but I believe Nathan makes his own feeds. For anybody who's wondering what I'm babbling about when I say I hate those flat bottles, this is an ink made by Sailor. It's not, officially a Sailor ink. It's made by Sailor for somebody else. But they're just these flat, short boxes, and then it's really hard to get, any depth in them once you suck a little bit of ink out of them, then it's just about impossible to get the video, or gosh, to get the ink out of it. Wow. I need to drink more of that coffee that's sitting here on my floor that I almost kicked right then. Vix Clark says, Mr. and Mrs. Alfred dates the book by itself. Yeah, okay, so true story. A few years ago, I did a research project into a local church. You may have seen it from time to time on my channel. And I really struggled to figure out who these guys' wives were named, because it would be, Mr. and Mrs. Alfred Smith or whatever. And you're just like, but she's got a name. Isn't she important? And sad to say, that was a different time. So yeah, that's a pretty old one. I mean, it's new enough. It's got a zip code, but it's older. Let's see. Just lost my line here. Yeah, I haven't tried Sajjad. Oops. Sajjad Hussein says Sailor bottles are like bottles of fruity conserves, not inks. And yeah, I can see that. I like the way they look. It's just when you're functional with them, you're just like, oh yeah, I don't like you. Something like this, just deeper and easier to work with. And when it gets low, it's also easier to work with because I can tip it on side. And some bottles, like here's a good example. Think it through. And they've got a well. Oh, come on. So you can get those last bits of ink. Or like these Pilot bottles. Actually, you might be able to make it out in there. They have a little plastic insert so that when the ink gets low, you're fine. Or, I'll just tell you my personal favorite. Since it's empty right now, Ackerman bottles are just plain cool. Let's see. JC says Sailor are a bit naughty. They make their bottles that way because Sailor pens, can fill from the breather hole. And that makes sense. Let's see if we can see the breather hole here. Yeah. So what JC is talking about, for everybody who's wondering, come on. My autofocus will work. I don't know. It's something about this Sailor pen that my autofocus just does not like. How about my hand? Oh, yeah, you'll focus on the hand. Talk to the hand. There we go. So the ink actually goes in down there. Whereas on, say, a Noodler's Nippon set, if I don't get that whole thing immersed in the ink, nothing's going in. And you are right, the Sailor does make some very nice inks. That's why other people hire them to make their inks. Just curious. Oh yeah, there's a breather hole on this one, this Twisby. Come on. My camcorder doesn't give me this much trouble. Well, anyway, it's more like a breather channel on this Twisby. And let me just look at the... Ooh, I just had a thought. Let's see if I'm right. So this is the platinum. See, not even really a breather hole. And I've got an extra platinum laying over here, just mainly because I haven't put it away. This is a Procyon. Had to look there. I'm sorry, I forgot its name. But yeah, this one is also designed, so it's got a special breather hole there, so it can pull in ink even when the ink level is very low. And let's see, Paul Herman says that the Schaefer Inkwell bottle has come back, sadly, in 30 milliliters, not a 2-ounce. You got me curious what I have. All right, I have one Schaefer ink bottle that somebody sent me. It's a 50 ml bottle, so 1.69 ounces. I think, and I haven't ever emptied a Schaefer bottle out, of course. I think they're, yeah, I think they'll be good for, tipping on its side and getting ink out of it. I guess I'll find out eventually. I haven't used much of it. Oh, let's see. And what is it? Waterman, I think, is faceted, so you can tip it on its side. And I'm just looking to see. I feel like I've got another cool one over here. There we go. Of course, this company is out of business, but Omas, oh yeah, it's dusty too. But it's got all these facets. When it gets low, you can do that, which I think is kind of nice. ODE says the Waterman. Yes, you are right. I'm going to just show everybody what you mean, so talk amongst yourselves. Oh, come on, where did I put it? I almost inked it up this week, so I may have set it somewhere strange. Oh, there it is. I did set it somewhere strange. Okay, so hopefully you all heard the wild noise. So what ODE is talking about, I'm not sure how well this black hole on a black finish is going to show up, but the ink will go in this hole that's right where my finger's pointing. And yeah, very nice pen. Jacob Sampson says he just got a 51 VAC in the mail. Oh yeah, those are nice pens. They're a classic for a reason. And Paul Herman, that's the one without the inkwell. Okay. And let's see. The small Shaler Shikuri bottles are nice, but they contain only 20 milliliters. Yeah, I guess Sailor is moving away from this flat style bottle to something else, and there's less ink in them, and some people are upset about it. I was at first until I got to look at my ink collection and said, well, wait a second. How often do you use up a bottle? I used to buy the full-size Iro Shizuku bottles, but lately I've gotten smart that of course I haven't bought any in a couple of years, but when I started buying the smaller ones just because I never use it up. So, just trying to be a little more realistic that way. I just was curious. I've got another TWSBI here. Oh, yeah. It's going to show up eventually because I filmed the video on it. I just haven't put it together. Oh. All right. Some pens it'll focus on, some it won't. I don't get that. Maybe if I don't confuse it with my other hand there. There we go, sort of. All right. Anyway, what I was just trying to show is it's got this channel as for the air rather than a breather hole. Okay. Oh, they've changed their. What do I think of the new Kaweco jam jar bottles? Honestly, I've never seen one. I want to say the only bottles I know of from Kaweco are shaped kind of like this. So if there's a newer type than this, I have not seen them. So I do not have an intelligent opinion on Kaweco jam jar bottles. And yeah, Sailor has never been a cheap ink. Well, okay, I lie. Some of them were cheap. Like these Sailor Gentles were relatively cheap. They were more of a mass market type of ink. But nowadays, it's like they've become more of a boutique ink. And, okay, if you look at the price on this bottle, there's a reason I don't own any more Bungo Box inks. I really like this color, but I just can't justify spending that on a very ever basis for ink. I am going to have everything all torn up after I'm done with this video. And then I ran into this on Vaness pens years ago. Don't know much about it. This one's Chiara Green. But these are interesting bottles. Again, I don't use it very often, but there you go. So, okay, so it sounds like some people are liking the newer. After this is over, I'm going to have to get online and look at the new Kaweco bottles because now you have me curious. I've seen that. I've been just not looking at inks, but I see that Lamy has some newer inks too that are a few extra colors, and they're not using the traditional bottle. I know even like Pelikan, when they did their Edelstein inks, didn't use the new bottles, used new bottles, which look beautiful but are sort of a pain. And he looks to see if he has one. I know I do. Here we go. So, smoky quartz. And I just think it's okay for now. And, when the ink gets low, I can do this, but it's a lot of bottle for whatever's in it. And did not know Diplomat was even coming out with any ink. Like I said, I've been making myself behave, so I'm not buying any inks lately, so I'm not even shopping for them. And yeah, smoky quartz is a nice color. I almost put it in a pen this week, but I didn't for whatever reason. So I guess I'll just show you one or two other little things while I've got the camera down here. I got a pen from Proto Pens. It's a Geha just a second. Okay, try that again. It's a Geha of some kind that's slipping my mind at the moment, but it doesn't matter. It's probably written on here. Or not. Okay. Anyway, it's a Geha. So pretty typical other than, the steel body. But one of the troubles that I've always had with them, with Geha, is you have to use these special cartridges, which naturally are no longer made, unless you happen to pick up some vintage ones. One end is a standard international, and this is the end you put in your pen. Now, I had heard that Lamy cartridges worked, but my experience with Lamy was that they just fell out. So I've been mostly just saving cartridges and re-injecting them with ink. But one of the things that Proto Pens has suggested and sent along with this is to use cross cartridges. Now, looking at these, I would swear this is a platinum, and maybe that's what they mean for me to use, and this is a cross. So I don't know why they sent me a platinum cartridge, but they did. So I don't know, I'm going to do that soon, just to try it, and then you'll all get to find out the results. But I guess cross is just a very different, type of cartridge. I'm just looking here, wondering if I have a cross cartridge. Oh, yeah, I do, because I have a cross pen. Another pen you get a preview of. I bought this. This actually traveled with me in my journey around the Northeast, a beautiful Cross Wonderlust. Bought out of Pure Pen Lust. Yeah, I guess that is a little different. All right, this should be an interesting experience when I finally get to that. JC just got censored by YouTube, but I was able to reveal it. Because YouTube doesn't realize that that there's a totally innocent meaning there behind the word used. But yeah, Geha, just a little bit different. Okay, that's a sailor. Alrighty, so you're right. This is a box of sailor cartridges. So they told me that cross fits, and they sent me sailor and platinum. Obviously, I don't use cartridges very often if I'm struggling to recognize cartridges. So, thank you for that. That would have been one of those awkward scenes that would have been edited out of that final video, so now I can mention that. Actually, I've got another Geha here that I picked up myself and cleaned a bunch that I'll be showing soon. And so maybe I'll try one cartridge in one in the other. Heck, maybe I'll see. I may be going somewhere soon, so maybe I will look to see if I can find cross cartridges somewhere. Just have a small pack. Actually, probably that pen came with. Just a second. I am now way off topic, but that's okay. Staged. Yeah, that's ringing a bell. So buried in the bowels of the box, the Wanderlust came in. So, So I'm going to set those over here. I'm going to put them in that same bag so that I remember. Yeah, we'll get this figured out eventually. Now I kind of want to get that video filmed so I can find out. No, nothing to be sorry for. Now I know. So that'll be a nice experiment when I get to that video. Trying to put all my parts back in the box. Wasn't sure what all I wanted to photograph yet. When I get around to putting that video together. All right, so let me catch up on the comments here. Lost my line. Oh, ODE says, as an older diplomat from the 70s, similar to some Geha that also use cross. Okay. So you must be able to use cross in them. And then Shantanu Dudagupta says, where do you get these vintage beauties? Mostly eBay, sometimes on what's the other one called? Etsy. There's a couple of stores. I just I Google. Well, now eBay's good about recommending to me the kind of pens I'm interested in. ProtoPens is another good website, but you do pay because they restore them. I don't mind restoring a pen, or if a pen's a little ugly, so I'll buy a pen like this Duofold, for example, that's missing a finial. Doesn't bother me. Let's see. The pens vintage beauties, yeah. No, not old enough for that yet. Wasn't that a cross cartridge in the set? Yeah. So I got to show the cartridge here. So what I had, ProtoPens had sent me a Sailor and a Platinum, even though they said cross fits. But then that Cross Wanderlust has had 2 cross cartridges in it. So I guess I get to try to use a cross cartridge. We'll see how it goes when I do that video. Let's see. Oh, some other interesting stuff laying here. I said I have a President. This one took a lot of cleaning. But it's a nice little, I don't know what it's a clone of, but kind of Parker 51, but not quite. Anyway, that'll be coming soon. I'm getting ahead on my pen videos because I know how I get during school, so I've been filming a lot of extras. So I'll be able to clear all these pens off of my desk for the school year. This was another one I'm looking forward to filming. Just a cheap bargain one. It's a quill fountain pen. It kind of looks like a Geha nib or Platinum Preppy nib or something. Okay, I gotta know what there. Oh, I'll bet it's Standard International. Yeah. I just noticed it has vintage cartridges in here. But yeah, those are Standard International cartridges. Hey, Pierre Gustafson has joined in. You're a brave man coming into this chaotic mess. I started out with a plan, and I'm way off it now. Now we're looking at future videos. This one might be next week's. Filmed it already. This is a nice Sailor, which I'll be able to use that. Maybe I'll use a Sailor cartridge in it. because can't fit the converters. Not like super expensive pens. I don't remember what they're called, but I've got 2 vintage Watermans. Oh, so is Quill still okay? Did own it? Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think Quill is still around unless they make like cheap ballpoints or something. Like Senator used to make the glorious Senator President and all these wonderful pens, and now they just make ballpoints that you can get custom wording on. Anyway, I've got 2 Watermans that I'll be doing soon. And this is just screen printed. So 2 very definitely 80s or 90s pens. Did I bring anything else interesting over here? Oh, actually, to me, interesting. Probably not to most people. Quill from Rhode Island. Let me just double check that. Yep. The Quill Company, Providence, Rhode Island, USA. Ha. Now I'll have to get that one inked up. So this is just a Jinhao. I'll tell you why I bought it. I really like the Aurora 88. Okay. Got scared for a second when I saw that nib. I might still be scared. I don't remember if it's supposed to be a Fude nib or not. Anyway, the reason I bought it, it's kind of like a Parker dual fold. I loved the finish. It's kind of reminded me of Aurora 88 came out with a veneer finish, which I thought, oh, why didn't I wait and get that instead of that Jupiter finish? But then I, not going to spend that kind of money again. So, well, maybe it is a Fude nib. I just had this horrible feeling when I pulled that out of the pen that, oh my God, what happened to the nib? And I'll show you why that fear came to me, because I have a, let's see if I can pronounce it right, Heriter. Anyway, it's a contemporary clone of the dual fold and has what look like all original parts, and I will show you here. Let me go grab it. I'm feeling like this is one of Pierre's live streams where he is always running around the room to grab stuff. So clearly, not quite a Parker dual fold, but opened it up, and yeah, it's a screw cap. And I looked at the nib. Eventually. And I thought, how's that happen? Well, I can't even really screw this on. It just kind of sits there. So I don't know if it's a mismatched cap from a different model, or, has the ebonite aged over time and it just doesn't fit together well anymore. And then somebody enthusiastically went boop and bent the nib. I am not sure. Ooh, or no inner cap. That would make sense too. See if I can get this on camera here. See, this camera, unlike my camcorder, actually comes with a light. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. There's no inner cap in there. Okay. Yep, no inner cap. And so then my next question is, did it ever have an inner cap, or is it just I don't have an answer. But anyway, if I do ever end up repairing that, I will forever have to be very careful. Okay, I guess I have 2 other cool ones here. I have This is one I'm very interested in. This is like a top of the line Reform pen. This is a Reform 1000. I have a kind of a Rex pen equivalent for it. Oh yeah, Peyton Street. I have not ordered from them, but I've looked through their website a number of times. That is a good point. They have a lot, especially if you're looking more for American brands. You can find a lot of them there. And I just thought I'd show this wild thing. So this is inked up right now, actually, because I re-inked it. It's going to be interesting to film it properly because there's a sparkle in the whole body of the pen, just a really subtle sparkle. And let's try and get it closer. Maybe it'll show up under this. Yeah. So it's not gaudy like one of those Bennu pens, but it's a very subtle sparkle. And then just a nice little bit of beadwork. But I've mentioned my goal of getting a pen from every continent. This is a pen from Africa. It's made in South Africa, actually. What's it called? Stanford Wood Products. Although the pen's not wood. But they also make kayaks out of wood, so that makes up for it. But anyway, so I've got Africa taken care of. The only continent left to go is Antarctica. So if anybody knows of any Antarctic pen makers, I would sure love for you to put me in touch with them, because that's the only continent I don't have yet. Okay. Oh, that must be the one you were writing with. The Eversharp Symphony. Yeah, that made very nice writing. And yeah, I think that whole Antarctica thing is pretty unlikely. Okay, and Matt J. Waz got one of the Impressionist pens. I'm assuming you're talking about Stanford pens, not some secret pen maker in Antarctica, because I'm missing out on an Antarctic pen. I'm going to be really sad. So I'll just turn this around. Alrighty, and we'll turn up. Oh, she wants to tip. There we go. Let me turn this light off because it's right in my face. All right, so again, actually, now that I don't have pens here, I can move this computer a little closer so I don't have to keep looking across to read comments. There we go. That's a little more natural, and it's more like a conversation than an awkward he is looking off the screen. Then I can just subtly look down like that. Must be getting warm out there. My air conditioner just kicked on. It's only 10 o'clock. Yipe. So we've got Tess says, yeah, actually Peyton Street does have good prices. I don't know why I don't order from them more. Maybe, well, I haven't really been ordering pens through the summer because I just got that roof coming, and I just don't like to spend money in the summer anyway because I don't get paid again till September. I know what my budget is, but Matt J. Waz, the folks behind Stanford Woods, yeah, they seemed really nice from the website. They followed up with emails and things to see how I like the pen. Let me know. Oh, we just mailed it today. Oh, it looks from the tracking, it looks like it's at your post office, and then they wanted to know how I liked it, and then they even answered a question. I'll hold up the pen again because why not? It's beautiful. This is the Miyuki model, but apparently these are Japanese nibs, Japanese beads, but kind of an African way of using them. I'll have to find their exact wording. They said it more smarter than that. And yes, it is a very handsome devil. Yeah, there's somebody else trying to discourage me about the Antarctic pens. Come on, don't penguins make pens or something? Antarctica's the one with penguins, right? Because it's the Arctic that has the polar bears, right? That feels right. I was reading an H.P. Lovecraft story a week or so ago. It took place in Antarctica, where they were exploring the inner parts of Antarctica, and they found this great big underground city. And he's He's interesting. Maybe someone on one of the military bases watches these videos and can figure something out. That would be kind of fun. Like I said, I don't have high hopes for Antarctica. I was happy to finally get an Australian pen, thanks to not ODE, sorry, the other one that goes by letters, JPL. So now I have 2 Australian pens. I've got a few South American pens. I think I've got one more I need to review yet. It's a Wembley, but I don't, unless I filmed it already. I may have filmed it because I don't see it laying here. Yes, I think it was the Mountains of Madness. That sounds right. I could get up and look, but that sounds right because they were exploring mountains. And then Pierre Gustafson says that there is an option. Okay. But yeah, I've been reading. I'm reading books, but I've also been reading H.P. Lovecraft kind of at night. Oh, Waterman 52s used by the Bird Expedition. Wasn't there a movie called The Land That Time Forgot, where they found dinosaurs in the Antarctic? Okay, I know the movie you're talking about, because it was a submarine or something, wasn't it, that went there? I saw it like as a TV movie when I was a kid. I feel like I am way overexposed. I'm just going to dial down my exposure a little. I'm here by the window, and then to balance the window, I had to turn a light on, and yeah. But, oh, Inscribed. Yeah. Okay, that kind of history would be cool. That would make up for it not being made in Antarctica. But I've got this feeling those pens might be a little bit out of my budget without, looking for them or anything. I just kind of got that feeling. Call me crazy. Let's see. Lost my line here. Have I tried Sailor Zoom Nib? Yes. I prefer the Zoom Nib. In fact, I enjoy that Zoom Nib very much. It's on a little bit smaller pen, but I like it because you can just, it's a different way of getting line variation. The Waterman ad said special non-freezing ink was, I'll bet it was. And back then that would have been before they had Noodler's Polar Inks. Yeah, I wonder if they had to use probably an alcohol-based ink. I know, like, to do those expeditions, they couldn't use the regular mercury thermometers, which were in vogue then. They had, because the mercury would freeze, they had to use alcohol spirit thermometers like we use now. They belong in a museum. Yeah, World War I era. Yeah, I would guess that the people that own them treasure them. I know I would. Drink some more coffee. Yeah, this Zoom Nib, I guess, was developed to sort of emulate, I mean, not really replace a brush, but fill in a lot of ways the brush would for their writing that they use, where you need these thin strokes or thicker strokes and need to be able to change them, which is all very natural with a brush pen, but not so natural when you're using a nib. What was the Pilot had one too? Was it the Pilot Falcon that was the idea? I think so. But yeah, the thing I don't like, since you asked about the music, I just have to hold, especially this one, up too much upright, and I just don't like that. It's unnatural to me. I'm kind of a slob that will relax on the couch and write, or because I've got this desk and I don't write much at it. I actually write more. I have a lap desk that I use. The lap desk is basically falling apart. I was just looking at it. Just going to show you, but I've got kind of a mess around it, and I don't want you to know how I live right now. Cleaned up a lot, but yeah, I had that whole COVID thing where I just sort of let things go for a while, and coming out of it, but progress. Anyway, yeah, but I usually write on a lap desk, or heck, sit on the floor and write on the, use a notebook as my desk too. So anyway, that's just a strange preference of mine. And then I have, of course, this, this one I said that this Nippon set I very rarely ink up because actually I don't know why. I don't seem to ink up my Noodler's pens as much as I used to. I used to own a whole bunch of them, and I've given most of them or sold most of them. And, like they have this new triple tail and I haven't purchased it. I did buy their safety pen. Kind of like it, but it's, nothing special. Slouch pen, just go 2000. Well, I have a Reform 2000. Isn't that enough? Lamy 2000 also. Howdy, Friedrich has joined us. Glad to have you. I was showing off some music nibs and a couple other projects, and now we're just shooting the breeze mostly. I wonder how prolific. Oh, the Fisher Space Pen. I've always wanted to try one, but I don't know why I never have. Yeah, they're kind of a different sort of a pen. I was just trying to think if I've got any current reading I could grab here. Maybe. If I can get it done, I'm hoping to do a book review on this on Monday. So it's a whole bunch of, he travels around, he's a historian, so he likes to gather historical stuff. So like this whole first chapter was old stories about people back in the pioneer days of North Dakota, like a Lutheran preacher who was going around the Fargo area back when Fargo was just a little village. Actually, fun fact I did learn from this, Fargo at one time was the divorce capital of the United States because it was so easy to get a divorce there. And, it's 1800s. So people would actually come by train out to Fargo just to get a divorce. And you had to live there. I think there was a residency requirement of like 30 days or something, 60 days, something like that. But, just kind of a little piece of trivia there if you ever need trivia. Well, Alan joined us. It was 9 my time, so sorry you missed us. Okay, and you say the triple tail is pretty enjoyable. I think it uses the same music nib as the Nippon set, so I'm not sure, maybe other than the shape, what the difference is. And Friedrich asks, if the ballpoint works by paste, why pressurize it? That's a good question. I don't have an answer to. Maybe because it's supposed to work in zero gravity, maybe it needs that pressure to force the ink to go down. I don't know. Because I think I can write upside down with a regular ballpoint. So maybe somebody else knows that. That's a good point. Let's see, other exciting reading. Oop, almost knocked my index cards over. There it is. So last year, nib on the triple tail is a redesign of the Nippon set nib. Okay. So last year, I think, I read this book. It's Johnny Pierce. He usually does philosophy type books, really high level reading. And then he randomly decided to write a zombie novel about a zombie apocalypse in the UK. So it's kind of interesting, a little different because, his whole background, like I said, is philosophy. And then he just came out with a sequel, which I'm looking forward to reading. After I finish Pacing North Dakota, I'm probably going to read this. So the first one's Metamorphosis. This is Adaptation because it's kind of hard to read those titles. Just use a pencil in space. True. Maybe take off the eraser so nobody's tempted to erase, and you have those eraser crumbs floating around, so you inhale them. And actually, you better have, like your pencil sharpener, have a vacuum cleaner included so you don't have pencil shavings flying around. Matt J. Waz, I have a... Okay. You prefer the triple tail to the Nippon says. Oh, maybe I'll have to try one. This fall, maybe, when I feeling rich again. JC says there's a bot. Oh, she didn't finish the sentence. A bottle of ink in space would be her. Yeah. I don't see fountain pens ever making it to space. Alan Price says yes, it was designed for zero gravity and donated by Fisher to NASA. Yes, graphite does conduct electricity. In fact, fun fact, I did a lab a couple of years ago where I needed, it was a lightning detector type of lab. So, the old lightning detectors where they'd have a foil ball that would go back and forth and hit. So I was trying to take the easy route. So I was using pencils that they would put on the beaker to hold the string that had the, all the stuff on it anyway. But the important thing is it didn't work, and I could not figure it out. And I was like, okay, this is so easy. It should work. Till I remembered, like that night, that, graphite conducts electricity. And when I tried the lab first myself, because of course I always try them myself first, I'd used a chopstick to do it because I did it here at home. And get school, don't have chopsticks, but hey, we got pencils. So yeah, so I had the kids redo it with chopsticks. I just went to the grocery store and bought a pack, and that was that. But yeah, that was kind of fun. Then I got to explain to them, here's why this didn't work yesterday. Because of this graphite was conducting the electricity. Una T. Tuna just was able to join. I don't know why you couldn't join until now. I was listening to David Packman this morning while I was showering and stuff, and he had a caller on that was complaining about his live streams. The converse. Ooh, better plug the computer in. Complaining that the conversations on the live streams just scroll by way too fast and you can't read them. So this is at a nice rate where I can read it. Yes, graphite is an effective neutron moderator. That's, they use in nuclear power plants. And it's actually a nice structural material. I think we're going to see more carbon-based materials that are more explicitly carbon, with the nanotubes coming out and the carbon fiber and all just the amazing cool things they can do with carbon. It's probably in my pen case. Yeah, it is. But I own a pen. Okay, I don't actually care for the pen a whole lot. It's a, what is it? A Monteverde Regatta Sport. Another pen you never see. And mainly I've kept it because it's got carbon fiber on it, so it's cool. Yeah, so Vix Clark pointed out that there's the replay. Yeah, the nice thing with these is they are recorded. The conversation is a little slow to follow. I know the first couple of times, like, wait, why doesn't it save the chat? Because then everybody's like, what is he reacting to? What's going on? I don't get it. And then the chat shows up a few hours later. Some YouTubers, like, what is his name? Mike Matson is able to run the chat kind of where my hand is, up the side of the screen. But I think he uses better software than I do. I'm very basic because I am just using YouTube's screen thingy. And that's it. But yeah, I've looked at like StreamYard, which I think Pierre Gustafson uses that one. To get more features, you have to pay. And I just don't know that I live stream enough that I'd want to pay for those features. Okay, Shantanu Duttagupta says you're reading Bark by Lori Moore. Okay, well, I don't have my Evernote open right now, but I will write that down and add it there later. And just so everyone knows, I wrote that with a pencil because I also like lead pencils. I just never do videos on them. Okay, Tess says that the USSR used graphite as a moderator and to tip their control rods. Oh, yeah. Because Chernobyl, if I remember right, they don't use water like we do here in the United States. So wasn't it sodium cooled or something goofy? It's been too long. I don't remember all the details anymore. But you obviously know a little bit more about it than I do because you know all the model numbers and everything. There was a TV show that I've thought about watching. I just haven't. That was called Chernobyl, which was supposed to explore like what went on and all the different stories around the Chernobyl incident. So I may check that out at some point. When I was in college, I got to visit a training reactor at the Penn State College. Penn State, which is located in a town called State College in Pennsylvania. But Penn State University, but they have a nuclear reactor on campus they use for training. And, the pool with all the rods in it and everything, all the fuel rods is right there in an open room. You can look down. When they're running the reactor, you can watch them glow that kind of eerie blue color, but the water's there shielding you, so you're hopefully safe. And then the lady giving us the tour was talking about how she took one of those fuel rods out and held it up in the room. We'd all be dead. So nuclear power fascinates me, but it does have there are a few things to think about with it. Let's see what else is going on here. I've only had about a centimeter of my coffee yet. Okay, and I'm going to write down that book too. Midnight in Chernobyl. Actually, I have a book over there that's about the development of the atomic bomb I've been meaning to read too. And Doug Rathbun is taking a break from YouTube. I'm honestly not surprised. When he decided to reduce his schedule, I kind of thought, yeah, that's coming. Because that's what was going on with Matt Armstrong too. Doug works a lot harder than I do at his videos. You'll notice his videos are, Tom Higbotham. His videos are much more polished and edited than mine. And he has, all those humorous inserts, and just doing all that takes time. When he told me in one of the videos how many hours he spends on a single video, I just said, yeah, that's not sustainable. So hopefully he'll come back. Like I said, that's one of the reasons I'm more minimalist with my editing. You don't have the fancy cuts and all that. Like when I tried to put together my road trip last week, it was reminded me like, oh yeah, this is why you don't do all the heavy editing like some of these other people, because I wouldn't be able to sustain it. I was just trying to think. Now, Matt Armstrong didn't do so much the editing or the clever inserts, but he did. His footage of the pens was just that he could insert was just incredible, and he always had a very polished script when he would go in, and he was such a perfectionist, and then his photographs were not just quickly snapped with a cell phone like mine. He spent a lot of time on it just to do quality work, and that's really hard for one person to sustain, especially. Sorry to say this, but with the minimal financial rewards of YouTube, I know some people can do it, but most of us don't make a lot of money. I get 1 or 2 expensive pens a year out of this. I mean, admittedly, I wouldn't buy them otherwise, but luckily the interaction with the people keeps me going for the rest of the time because, yeah, the financial rewards are not there. And I know some channels will get into Patreon and, what is it? YouTube's got some kind of a membership thingy now too, but just not making my money at this, so why do that much work? There's a booktuber named, sorry, I was going to recommend a different booktuber today, so I got his name in my head. Daniel Green, I guess, makes his living doing book videos on YouTube, but he's got merchandise and all kinds of stuff. I just, no, too much work. I just want to play with pens. Let's see. The graphite is not a super stable moderator with the graphite and light water. Okay. So, yeah, as I was going to say, I thought we used graphite, or maybe that's what we used to use, because I know way back when we did our first nuclear reactor at University of Chicago, they had all the control rods tied by a rope and a guy ready with an axe to cut the rope in case things went bad to bring a stop to the reaction. It was like, okay, that's different now. Yeah, I'm glad you like these more laid back videos. Sometimes I get, I'm always really nervous before I do these. Like today, I wasn't sure I'd set it up to use the right camera, but it did it, so good. Yeah, Matt, I do miss Matt. He does some garden updates on Instagram a little bit. I see he has a new dog. Luke the dog sadly passed away, but looks like he's got a new one, so that's good to see. We've got a nuclear reactor operator here. Good for you. And yeah, that's it, ODE. I will edit once in a while. I'll do heavy editing. For the most part, it's too much work. I've got my Great Sioux War video that's going to have a lot of editing, so I feel like I'll get my footage done in the summer, and then it'll be released like at Easter or something. I got another project I'm working on. I just got to get that done by Halloween. So, yeah, that's why I don't do heavy editing. And, yeah, Vix Clark is saying the same thing. Yes, and exactly. Stephen Brown is another one. I think that's why he's been able to sustain this, because he doesn't do much editing either. He does a touch here and there. He edits out some things, but yeah, it's easier when you don't edit out everything. I want to enjoy my pens, and if this camera is getting in the way of enjoying my pens, well, guess what's going to win? So luckily, this camera has made it possible to make this a more social hobby than it would be in rural North Dakota. I'll be able to open this curtain soon. The sun will be up far enough up. Let's see. Okay, yeah. We've got... Yeah, I'm glad you're all enjoying the fact that I don't edit too much. Oh, we got another book recommendation. I had one from, he was from Brazil that I wrote down yesterday. Juan Rulfo. And that's the other thing, now that I'm adding in book reviews, it's forcing me to read more. Also forcing me to YouTube less, which is good. And actually consume news less, which is good too. Because really, when you get on the news, you're reading news, a lot of it, did I need to know that? Oh, look, Marjorie Greene just did something stupid again. Does it affect my life? I didn't vote for her. Even if I wanted to vote for her, I wanted to vote against her, I couldn't, because I don't live in, where's she from? Georgia, I think. So, do I really need to know that? So that's what I've kind of been focusing more on NPR as a news source, because they're, well, for one thing, a little more international, but for another, it seemed to be more important things. Economist is also good. I listened to 2 different issues of it in the car while I was doing my whole East Coast tour. I kind of like that. So, yeah, the YouTube thing kind of relaxed. Well, I'm glad, Una Tituna, I'm glad to hear you like my more relaxed videos, because yeah, they're not going to be hyper stylized. When I do cuts, I just cut, slap it together. I don't do transitions, or I still have music, I guess, for pens and use, but I even quit doing music when I started doing these first impressions. I decided to make them minimalist, and now when I go back to doing some more intelligent, more focused reviews, they're going to be pretty minimalist too. They're not going to have the music and all that. Just too much work. So I got one who joined a Patreon. I don't even know what I do. It's not like I need to raise money. I would, other than the expensive pens, I buy the pens I want, and in the summer take a break on buying pens. I'm glad the mistakes are part of my part of my charm. Okay, I got to reread that comment. That's interesting. The word scram came from the Chicago pile. It was the shutdown cut rope Axeman. I did not know that. That is cool. Because everybody else is going to scram when that happens. That's fun. Oh, Wasky squirrel shirt. I don't even know what I'd put on one. Most of my t-shirts are squirrels anyway, because I just buy them from wherever I see a squirrel shirt. So I don't know what I'd do to make mine special. I've got a cartoon squirrel I sometimes draw that's skiing downhill, but I'd probably have to get a graphic artist to help me figure him out. Squirrel chewing the squirrel chewing the lid off of a ink bottle. That would be funny. Well, I'm glad to hear we come across friendly. Jose Saramago. I'll write that one down too. See, I'm going to end up with this huge list of books. Saramago. And who knows if I'll get to them all. I am slowly getting on that list, though. I've been reading H.P. Lovecraft. That's one of the ones that was recommended to me that I read off of that list. So, yeah, that's kind of fun. Yeah, that Chicago one is scary. And let's see. Well, I'm glad to hear that you like the informal style. And glad to hear that. So, like I've said, that part of why I do, and that definitely must be getting hot out there. So now the air conditioner's on again. So I guess 20 minutes, but still. Learned the hard way when I first got an air conditioner. If I let the house get hot and then turn it on when I can't take it anymore, it takes forever to cool it off. So I've gotten smarter. Even though I feel kind of guilty letting it run this early in the morning. But it gets brutal in here if I don't. Oh, there's another one wants a t-shirt. Yeah, I'll have to think about that. I'm not a very good artist, but okay, I used to draw. I just kind of let that go. Because that's part of why I like lead pencils, is because I like to draw with pencil. The awful video Girls Gone Wild. Used to wear Squirrels Gone Wild t-shirt. Yeah, some hot treetop action. Trying to think what the website. There used to be a website. Is it Foamy the Squirrel? I think it was Foamy the Squirrel. Anyway, just this, my students suggested it to me, so I looked it up after school, because back then I had only dial-up internet at home, and ooh, yeah, very adult and definitely not my kind of thing. But yeah, squirrel humor is funny. this winter, because of course the mask thing. So I bought squirrel masks. One of the masks I bought had a squirrel that he's like, his paws out like that. So I thought, oh, that'll be cute. I bought it. I didn't notice that it says on it, right across the top of the mask, "Don't crush my nuts." So yeah, not going to wear that one to school. Una says, random observation, you look so much more relaxed and engaged now that school is done. What a stressor to have to. Yeah. If this next year is like this past year, I think I am done teaching, because I have not hated teaching since my first year teaching. Second year, probably first 2 years of teaching. And there were a lot of days I just hated it this year. All the precautions, and then surrounded by people who don't give a rip about any of the precautions and are belligerent about you trying to enforce the precautions. And that includes the parents. I hated this year. So yeah, if I have to do this year over again, I'm looking for a new job. Dead serious. The good thing is I am vaccinated. So I think, I know I could, it was like 14 days, the day that I was theoretically fully vaccinated, after those 14 days after your second shot, I almost felt like a load had been lifted off of me. But I think what I really needed was I did those 2 trips after school got out and just got out into the world again, which I hadn't done since February of 2020. So, and I possibly might be doing another trip. We'll see. I got some other stuff I got to do too this summer, so we'll see. But anyway, yeah, I am enjoying life, and hopefully can go into school just with a better attitude next year, because, well, wearing a mask for one thing, just, I don't know. And I guess the other big thing is the kids have been out of school then since March. And a lot of bad habits got picked up while they were at home. And then with some of the things we were doing to limit possible spread of the disease, a lot more bad habits became possible. So I really feel for those teachers in schools where they have not been in session since that March lockdown, because that's not just the quarter of a year that we had, that is a quarter of a year plus a full year kids to fall behind and develop bad habits. And going back to school is going to be that much more brutal for them. So, sorry, I got off on a tangent there. I should see what else people are talking. Audience loves you. Oh yeah. I was going to join in that chat, and then it all went black, and I should have said something, but I just kind of panicked and said, "Oh shoot, what did I do?" Then I had to put the video back together again, because it wasn't just like, I don't know. I apparently deleted like a whole big piece of the video without realizing it. So I've been more careful since then to look through my stream and make sure all the videos there that's supposed to be. But yeah, I'm glad you were able to get something out of that. I wasn't having a good time then. I was kind of panicked, but got through it. Yeah, I'm glad it works out for you in France. And okay, it is Foamy the squirrel. What type of air conditioning do I have? Right now, I just have a window unit. It's a semi-split because it's separated. The compressor, it's shaped. Let me draw a picture of it. Okay. It's shaped like this. So the compressor part is outside. Then we got the wall here, and the window comes down on top. And then we've got the blower unit on the inside. So it's actually very quiet. So I can sit beside it like right now, and it's running and it doesn't interfere. Because I know some YouTubers say, sorry about the sweat. Can't run the air conditioner while I'm doing videos. And I can. So it's very quiet. I like it. And it's supposed to be pretty energy efficient compared to regular window units. Not as good as a split, but also not as expensive as a split, and a lot easier to install. So split may come, we'll see, but I'm not there right now. I've got other things I want to spend money on, need to spend money on. Author of the zombie books, his name is Johnny Pierce. So I'll just hold that up there for a second for you. He publishes his philosophy not as Johnny Pierce. He publishes it as what? John S.M. Pierce, something like that. So just kind of funny that he randomly decided, hey, I'm going to write a zombie book in the midst of all his high-level philosophy stuff. He also does a regular column on Pathos called Tippling Philosopher. Tess has got to run. Well, hope you had a good day. I'm glad you joined. And Matt J. Waj, yes. That's right. I'd forgotten you were also a teacher. Yeah, I'm hoping everything is a lot more normal next year because it was just brutal last year. And for some teachers, I realize as brutal as it was for me, some teachers had it a lot worse, especially the ones where we're in session, then we're out of session, then we're back in session, then we're out of session. That must have been horrible. James Rains is repairing my cursor's in the, 1935 Parker Challenger. Yeah, the Challenger. I'm going to quick grab mine. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I like the Challenger. It's a nice little pen. Mine has kind of got a greenish finish. Button filler. And somebody was telling me their Challenger doesn't have this little grabber doodle on its, come on, by its button. I don't know how to make that focus any better, but anyway, mine does. I was going to go back and try and find their comment, but then I couldn't find it. Just realized I don't need the desk lamp anymore. But yeah, they're nice pens. And you're in Houston, so we're cooled off now, but I think for a while Houston had better weather than those of us here in the northern part of the United States as far as temperatures, which doesn't happen very often. I had one of my viewers who lives in, I can't remember if it's Alabama or Arkansas, but anyway, was talking about, yeah, I'm out here at 79 degrees. I'm like, 106 here. Yeah, honestly, if I weren't on here, where I would be right now would be out probably in the garden working, but here I am. But I do have some vintage pen work planned for this afternoon. I've got I want to film a video on putting a sack in a pen, and I got a pond that I have to fix and those kind of things. Sajjad Hussein says he likes the window unit. Yeah, the thing with the split is they're outside, and some of the more modern ones can actually do heating as well. We finally got air conditioning at the school, which I know you're thinking North Dakota, why do you need air conditioning? But on the west side of the building in spring and fall, it is brutal in my room in the afternoon. So yeah, I appreciate the air conditioning. But the nice thing is it can also do heating because it's a heat pump. It's basically you run the air conditioner backwards. And I've been surprised by how well it works. Because you have this whole building system of heating where they have a big boiler and it takes forever to heat up all the hot water in it. And then if you start it too early, you roast everybody out of their classroom. You wait too long, it gets cold. So you have a number of days in there where you're that in between. It's just like, I don't know if we want to start this. And then you're just cold. So it's kind of nice to fill that in. I don't know what it does to the energy bill on the school, but I've also been hearing some schools are installing solar panels, so that might be an option because we've got that huge flat roof. So, hey, why not? Okay, that's another one of my passions is the whole heating systems and heating and cooling. I did not know this. Well, I didn't know this uncle really. Apparently I met him, but I was a baby. I had an uncle who worked with HVAC down in Florida, and so kind of wish I'd known him better. When he was alive and working in that, when I knew how interested I am in HVAC. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, you were in session. Yeah, the flip-flopping, that's got to be the worst. And you have a 1950s Conway Stewart. Yeah, I've heard a few people, I think you might be one of them, have told me I should do a video on a Conway Stewart. I've just never bought one. I don't know why. But that may be something to look at this fall. And that's a brand, I want to say Penultimate Dave has talked about a little, the modern version, because I think that's the one. They've got a UK version and a US version, and they're not the same company, but they have the same name. LSW UK, glad to have you. I don't do this too often, but once in a while. Here's the Procyon. It's out. I was actually thinking about using it this week. I inked up a vintage Aurora 88 instead, so the Procyon kind of lost out. But yeah, that's just a pen from Platinum that I really like. And I see you're a Brit in Cambodia, so it was on the radio. I was hearing a story about some people from Cambodia, not, like a super happy story because it was about the killing fields and all that, but it was on NPR, a whole story about Cambodia. But I've always thought it's a beautiful country, and some of the history there, like some of the temples and things, would be so interesting to see. And actually, I have a cousin with a Polish last name. I guess he's not Cambodian, he's Korean, but anyway, just kind of wild. Comes out of that same time period. I used to know the whole story about how, because Cambodia is involved in that story somehow, but I don't remember how. Anyway, I'm sure in Cambodia the weather's very humid. That's one thing I don't get. Maybe I'll get 1 or 2 days of humidity here, but I don't get much humidity. I sure felt the difference just going to the eastern end of the state. Wow, was it humid there. Here it's almost a desert. We got Vix Clark from Wales. Okay. That's another place. Okay, there are so many places I'd love to visit, but Wales is definitely on the list. There is a British TV show that I discovered on Amazon. It's called something Great Architecture, Great Houses, something like that. Anyway, they've done a handful in Wales, a handful of episodes in Wales, and I've just always thought, wow, that is so not my picture of what the UK looks like. And so I just have always thought Wales would be an interesting place to visit. Okay, and James Rains has cleaned and put in the sack. And you're polishing that. Yeah, that's one thing I don't do very often, ever. I don't know why. I just don't polish. ODE says that was his first. Okay. Yeah, now the Challenger, my first, it's not over here. My first Parker was a Parker Duofold. A lot like that purple one, just a different color. My first pen ever was an Esterbrook J, because it was given to me by somebody who wanted me to try a vintage pen, and the J bar broke like right away because I'm like, okay, I'm pulling on the lever, nothing's happening. So I'd unscrew the nib and use an eyedropper to put ink in the sack. But eventually I figured out that, hey, you can buy J-bars. And so I replaced the J-bar, and that gave me this little feeling of satisfaction. And then later on, I was given, I think it was a pawn. Anyway, I had, it just would not draw ink. So I took it apart and, oh, I need to put the sack on. And then I had to figure out how to assemble a button filler, which took me most of an evening, but got there. So yeah, it's as you do more, you definitely learn more. Oh, a neighbor from Minnesota, Sicario Camisado. Welcome. Yeah, there's a few of us fountain pen people here in the upper Midwest. I've joked about starting a Badlands fountain club, or Badlands pen club, but we would all be coming from so far away no matter where we hold meetings. So I don't think that's in the cards. Let's see. Okay, so several of you have done a Challenger. I did a Parker, what was it called? In fact, that's a video I should probably put into my restorations. Let me go grab it. I'm realizing how much stuff I've gotten out for this video. I'm going to have to put away when I'm done. This is a Fifth Avenue. They're made by Parker, but they weren't marketed under the... Okay, now I need the desk lamp back on. They weren't marketed under the Parker name. One thing that makes them different from your typical Parker is they had the lever filler. But these are just cheap pieces of crap pens. Try and show the nib here. The nib isn't even tipped. It's just kind of folded. But what they were was during the Great Depression, Parker Pen wanted to create more jobs. And one of the ways they figured out that they could, oops, I didn't turn off. One of the ways they figured out they could create more jobs was to introduce this new line of pens that was made very cheaply. They didn't pay the workers as well as they paid their regular workers, but it kept some money going in the economy, which was part of the problem with the Depression. So I've just always thought that was a really nice story. Let's see, let me get back on my comments here. Okay, looks like several of you really like Conway Stewart, so I will have to look at that. And the Procyon and the Aurora 88 should not be mentioned in the same breath. Yeah, probably not. What was I using as my before? Whatever I had my black ink in before ran empty. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I need a pen that I can just do my writing with. And I pulled out the Procyon, set it here. I was going to use this for my black ink. And then I thought, I haven't written with my Aurora 88 in a while. So I pulled out the Aurora 88 instead and filled that with black ink. So I think the Procyon will show up next week, though, with something in it. Because I like it. It's definitely not on the same level as a vintage Aurora 88, but it's a nice pen. So we'll put Grand Designs. That's it. Thank you. And, and you, Shantanu Duttagupta, you just mentioned interesting material, the casein, if I'm saying that right, or casein. Not sure how to say it, but anyway, when I talked about my dual fold that I recently repaired, I mentioned about, you don't want to soak most of your pen parts. And the reason you don't want to soak them is some of them are made out of that material because apparently that material dissolves in water, which to me seems kind of wild that you make a pen out of something that dissolves in water. But I suppose, your ink is safely stored in a sack. I don't know if maybe the sweat in your hand when you're writing with it isn't enough to dissolve it. I don't know. But I just always found that fascinating that they use that material for pens. Great. Okay, and Grand Designs, I think I read that one already. Thanks for... Oh, in New York. Hey, I've got a brother that lives in New York. He lives up in the Adirondacks. And Una T. Tuna. Sorry you weren't able to get in earlier, but I'm glad you were able to join us. Stephen Finan, expecting the sound of crashing glass and some cursing every time. It could happen. I did almost kick this over while I was sitting on the floor, but now that I've moved the microphone over here, I can set it on the little table beside here. One of these days, I got to film a video that shows the behind the scenes of Wasky T Squirrel's magnificent set, and you will all think I live in a third world country or something, anyway, small house, so I have to make some sacrifices to make this studio work. And Stephen Finan is saying the same thing, to keep him away from water. But now maybe you can answer this. So apparently the casein is fine if you're just with ordinary writing, even if you have sweaty hands. I don't know. I've never worked with that material. And the section would not be casein because like I said, usually you can soak. Obviously, I've got an upcoming project here. Usually you can soak the section because they're ebonite or some other kind of plastic. Although it was pointed out to me that I should have mentioned don't use warm water because the ebonite can discolor. So I use cold water for anything pen related. The vintage Aurora 88, I have two that are basically the same model. But they had several iterations. They kind of evolved some of the technology in them. And I think there's even a cartridge based. Besides the Aurora Duo card, I think that one of their later iterations was a cartridge version. But I also like the modern version too. So it's just a different kind of a pen. And I appreciate that Aurora makes their own nibs to this day. It's not over here. But I have this Aurora style where I had, cheap little, probably plastic or ebonite feet. I guess I don't know. Stainless steel nib, and yet they make it themselves. So kind of neat. Okay, so the Aurora 88 is absolutely great. I wouldn't even mind getting a newer one again. It's not high. If I've got a kind of an idea what my next expensive pen's going to be, but I could be talked into an Aurora 88, but probably not for a few more years. I want to collect some other things with this advertising income and maybe build up my budget again because, I bought a new camera with part of my YouTube budget this year, and I had to buy a new microphone. So, yeah. Angkor Wat. Yes, that's the one I am thinking of. And, I figured Cambodia had to be very humid. That's true. If it survived 70 years, of hand oil must not be a problem. And let's see. Okay. Because I haven't had any discoloration with the ebonite. I suppose then you have to just flush it and maybe take the nib and feed out. Because that Parker that I had this week, that was loaded with ink. I changed the water 3 or 4 times just to soak that ink out of it because it was... And I've had that with a number of pens where they're just... It's like the person who owned them just said, ball points, and just set this fully filled pen down and forgot about it. And glue is like... dried ink is like glue. Santini. Now, see, I'm not as familiar with Santini. I know I have seen Santini on your channel. I just don't know much about them. I have actually become kind of disconnected from the modern pens. But maybe I should pay more attention to them. And I've heard, Leonardo is one that a lot of people seem to like. Knew nothing about it. Peniter's another name I've been hearing. And was it Scribo? I think it's Scribo. No, I just know nothing about them. So, yeah, maybe at some point I educate myself. Okay. So high humidity will damage a casein pen. So yeah, they would probably love living here in southwestern North Dakota because we don't get high humidity. A humid day here would be like a normal day anywhere else. Sometimes our humidity is really scary low to the point of possible fire risk. Have I seen the latest Terra 88? No, but I would be curious. So I will definitely look for that after we're done. In fact, I'll write that down. I definitely want to look at that because I have been curious what they're going to do when they get to Earth. You know, one of the things I have faulted them for is their colors just do not match the color of the actual planet. Like, I love my Giove. I think it's beautiful. But Jupiter isn't that color. And same thing with the Veneer. I love that color. That's why I was, it's put away now. That's why I was talked into buying that cheap Jinhao, but it's not the color of Venus. Venus pen should be kind of an icky yellow color. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to be curious about that. What fountain pen YouTube channels do you regularly watch? Well, ODE, Chris Rapp 52, Stephen Brown, of course. Trying to think. There's others that I catch from time to time. Like occasionally I'll watch a Fig Boot. Occasionally I'll watch a Mike Matson. There's an Australian guy. JPL's kind of gotten away from fountain pens. He's more into machining now. Although I still watch those. What I Ink, I think Mick L. No, what is his name? Anyway, he's Australian and is an opera singer, but he also does fountain pen videos. I'll watch him. Pens and Tea sometimes. But I suppose for regular watching, the first three I mentioned, ODE, Chris Rapp 52, and Stephen Brown. And even then, if it's a pen I just have no interest in it, I don't turn it on. Ooh, and Chris Rapp 52 did a full review of the Santini. All right. So I may have to go catch that one because that may have been one I just skipped, said, I don't know what that is, and didn't watch it. Scribo and Santini are, okay. I'll take a look. Sky and Ocean. Yeah, because, what our planet is kind of famous for amongst the other planets is the amount of water it has. So it's, the other galactic civilizations call it the blue planet. So I kind of expected blue to be on the Terra. But then I wasn't sure, are they going to want to reference the green growing plants or... Yes, I'm curious what they do with, because they don't do scenes like this. They just do resins that are somehow supposed to be evocative. So I'm very curious what they do. Casein didn't last very long in Florida, so U.S. companies stopped using very fast. Yeah, Florida would be another really humid place. But in Europe, okay, maybe I'm wrong because I've never been to Europe, but I guess I always thought of Europe as being more humid. Like I know with in the UK, they talk about mold just desperately wanting to grow in your clothes and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. Mick L. Okay, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yes, and he is. Yeah, I don't know his politics. He's more careful about sharing them than I am, but yeah, he is left-handed, which that's an interesting. I'm right-handed, so I don't know how it is for a left-handed person to write on paper with a fountain pen, but I know a lot of them, like they have to hook their hand around so they're not dragging across the words they just wrote. But then you also kind of wonder, like Arabic writers, they must. they must use fountain pens in Hebrew. That's the other one, where instead of going left to right, they go right to left. So do lefties have an advantage then with those writing systems? I mean, culturally, probably lefties don't have an advantage in the Arabic cultures, but with the fountain pens, you'd think they'd have a slight advantage being a left-handed writer, but I don't know. I never heard anybody actually talk about that. Yeah, I have been surprised by the climate difference because we had a German foreign exchange student. He talked about snow and everything, and then we had a foreign exchange student from Spain that, actually one from France too. He was just shocked about the snow and the amount of snow. The first time we had a snowstorm, he just stood at my classroom window and he pulled out his cell phone. He's just recording the snow falling on the parking lot. I'm like, doesn't it snow in France? But apparently not in the part of France where he lives. And apparently never as much snow as we get here. And that was an especially snowy year because that was the year we had a blizzard that locked us into our houses for a few days till they got the roads cleaned out. But then I was reading somewhere about a ski slope in Spain. So you think of Spain as hot and dry, and like Italy you think of as hot and dry, but then again they've got the Alps. So I don't think Spain has the Alps. Theirs are the Pyrenees. But see, I know a little geography about Europe. I just haven't been there yet. But when I do, thanks to ODE, Portugal would be on my list. Actually, I kind of want to visit Croatia, and of course, you all know I want to go see the Toes Pencala factory, even though it's apparently defunct. Okay, and JC, yeah, I know northern, and I guess I'm not 100% sure what part of France you live in, but I know parts of France get snow, and you have ski slopes there too. Southern France, like he was used to, like, they'd get just a little bit of snow and everything would shut down. So he was just amazed that, we've got all this snow on the ground and yeah, life just goes on as normal. No big whoop. I like that. Yeah. Our Spanish foreign exchange student did not really enjoy our cold. Then she got a pandemic on top of it. And so her parents panicked. She had to go home, which flight was interesting then. And then she had to quarantine. And then the Spanish school said, you know what? Since you started as a foreign exchange student this year, you need to finish as one. And she had that time zone difference, which those of you in the UK and Portugal know exactly what the same time difference she's dealing with, where she's got to do her American classes online. So I felt kind of sorry for her. I always made sure to record my classes so that she could manage everything. Because I had her class in the morning. I just thought, wow, by the time you get to her 2:00 class, because what's that, a 7-hour difference? Anyway, whatever it is, it was brutal. We had we had a foreign exchange student when I was at a different school, came from Brazil. She had never seen snow before, and got off the airplane and went through the airport, went out the front door, and she immediately ran back inside because she arrived around Christmas time. And that was in the northern part of the state where it's even colder than it is here. Okay, so they get some snow, but not as much as in the northern U.S. 6 hours in Spain. Okay, yeah, so the 2:00 class would have been 8 in the evening there. So not horrible, but not when you really want to be doing school. Yeah, contrasting seasons in Connecticut. So yeah, we ours are very contrasting too, except for the humid thing. We get the short hot summers and very cold winters. Spring and fall tend to be very short. Like I have trouble growing peas because we just don't have enough of that spring season for them to grow. It just turns too hot, and they say, "No, I don't feel like it." Okay, from the Eastern time zone. So I'm in the Mountain time zone. So yeah, that would be 8-hour difference. Let me think. 8 to 12 would be 4 plus 3 is 7. Must be a 7-hour difference because to get on that 3 o'clock pen club, I log on at 8. I don't know. I'm trying to use my brain, but I'm only like 1 inch into my coffee, so I'm talking too much. Good night. Yeah, midnight. I'm no good at midnight, so have a good night. This will hopefully be recorded. And yeah, I'd like to do 1 or 2 more live streams this summer. It's a good time to do them. Yeah, exchange programs for pen people would be interesting. Yeah, I'm in Mountain Times. It could be 8 hours. I know there was a week there. There was one single pen club meeting where I had to wait until 9 to join because England changes their time a different day than the United States does. Okay. First, yeah, I can see. Snow would be a new experience for a little kid, and they don't know how cold it is. And I suppose in Pensacola, Florida, they get cold once in a while. But yeah. Good night. Okay, so Spain is 1 time zone further than Portugal and the UK. Okay. Yeah, so she may have been dealing with 8 hours. So yeah, 2 o'clock class, that'd be 10 o'clock. No. Although teenagers seem to do late night better. Well, thank you. Yeah, I do need to shave. I shaved earlier this week for right before I think right before I did my Parker restoration. That's one of the perks of summers. I don't have to shave every day. I just shave when I feel like it. I don't like it to get too long though, so I'm probably going to shave tomorrow morning. Winter in Brazil at 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. And 115 degrees in Vegas. Yeah. I don't think I could live in Vegas. I know I spent my brother got married in Tucson, Arizona, and I spent a few days there, of course, because I was at the wedding. And surprise. And my God, it was brutal. And it was just like the end of May, beginning of June. I burn, but it takes me a while to burn. I burned bright red my first day there. That was just so brutal down there. And it's so hot. And you just walking into a wall when you go outside. I don't know how I don't know how I could handle that. And it's dry there. You know, I think of the Southeast where it's not only is it hot, it's humid. And they talk about the air being muggy. I read a novel last summer that took place in Tennessee in the summer. And, you know, you could tell the author lived there or had moved there or something because he just making constant references to the heat and humidity. And, you know, the civilization kind of ended. And, you know, how do we keep cool and bugs. He talked a lot about bugs in this book too. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if, you know, maybe in the most mountainous part of India, there's snow. I was surprised. Fun fact, India has a lot of tornadoes. You never hear about tornadoes in India, but apparently, you know, the way the weather patterns, the wind move around, India's got like perfect conditions for tornadoes. So that was interesting. Kind of how the Great Plains here in the United States, it's actually a combination of factors like the warm Gulf and the cold air coming off of the Rockies is why there's so many tornadoes in Tornado Alley here in the United States. And why North Dakota doesn't get as many tornadoes as the rest of Tornado Alley because we're so far north. So that was interesting. Uh, okay, 44 degree. Yeah, that is brutal hot. I mean, I'm not as familiar with the metric system, but I know enough about the metric system. Yeah, that is a hot day. I could not take it. I guess I never think of New Delhi as being. Oh, it's Calcutta that's more humid. I guess. Yeah, New Delhi might. Trying to get my geography straight. I think I need to look at the shape of India, and then I can picture where New Delhi is. Yeah, my evil bunnies are fat. They're waddling around in the yard, and waddle over and eat some dandelions. Don't eat my food. So yeah, there may be no beans this year unless I can get a bunny fence up, because the first planting they exterminated. Might not get any broccoli either. That may need a fence too. So I got to decide where to prioritize the fence. Good thing they're so cute. Yeah, hot dry is a lot easier to take than hot and humid. When it's hot and humid, I just want to sleep. Actually, I don't even want to sleep because it's too uncomfortable to sleep. I just don't want to do anything. Did I get rid of my pilot vanishing point? Not yet. I'm waiting for a few things to sort themselves out about my summer, but I am looking at doing a giveaway. The pilot vanishing point is going to be on it because it's a cheap one. I'm looking at one or two books, maybe one or two other pens. Since I'm doing BookTube now, I thought I need to include some pens. ODE liked that Pilot Fermo. I liked how it felt in my hand better than I liked the Pilot Vanishing Point. But I didn't really like writing with it, so I never did. So I'm glad it's in a better home. Same with my Lamy Dialogue. I sold the Lamy Dialogue. The Vanishing Point I'm going to give away. And yeah, the Kuridas is really the only retractable nib that I like. The others are just too uncomfortable. There'll be some more book videos and hopefully some more road videos. I'm trying to finish a road video for tomorrow, but we'll see if I get there. The evil bunny. My bunny doesn't eat meat. My bunny just eats plants, but he eats way too many plants. And not the right ones. If you just go around and eat weeds and keep everything pruned, prune the lower branches off my tomatoes or something. I'm good with that. I don't even mind sharing. Here, have a leaf off of this plant. It's when he totally decimates the plants I'm trying to grow that I don't like him. You're a Sailor Ink fangirl. Can I put a few in next pens to use? Yeah, I think I could. I haven't used Sailor Inks in a while, so that might be kind of fun. I'm just trying to think what would be some good ones. Like, Epinard, of course. The Grenade is really pretty. I've got several Gentles. I've got a couple of weeks ago, I had one of the Sailor Storia inks, but I don't know if you like those. I don't even know if Sailor's still selling those. They were the pigmented ones. Have I thought about retiring not Jonestown, Jamestown or Valley City? I've thought about it. What's been going through my head more lately is retire not in this state to somewhere else. I've been thinking about going back east after I retire, but at a minimum, that's 12 years from now, and realistically, it'll probably be more time than that. Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch would be kind of fun. That would be that would take care of the bunnies. I've been thinking instead maybe I should borrow my neighbor's dog for a few days and just tie him up out in the garden, but I don't think he'd like that. But he could play with the bunnies. Actually, I feel kind of bad. I had a nest okay, I don't feel bad. I'm just too soft-hearted. I had a nest of baby bunnies right in the bed, right outside this window. I noticed them, and I'm just like, oh, but they're so cute. And I left them alone. And now I probably have a lot more bunnies running around here than I did before. And it's wild because a few years ago, when I moved to this house, 10 years ago, I never had bunny trouble. You know, you'd see one once in a while, but didn't have the trouble. So I don't know if they've gotten word that there's a garden here or what, but Farmer McGregor is not real happy with Peter Rabbit. Okay, yeah, your mother's having trouble. And I sometimes it might be drought. You know, I usually don't see deer in my garden except in drought years. Then they'll come into town more because they just don't have food out there in the country. And here's this lovely watered garden. And I imagine my my garden tastes a lot better than some boring grass in somebody's lawn that's well watered and probably over fertilized and over chemicaled anyway. So yeah, my garden probably very tempting. Yeah, iron gall inks are interesting. I've thought about. I've kind of wanted to do a video on the chemistry of iron gall inks. It's on my list of want to dos. I only own a couple of them, but it'd be kind of fun to try and make one. Probably not put it in a good pen, but try and make one. Oh yeah, my yeah, French for spinach. Yeah, I remember that. Slugs, because it's so dry here, I never see slugs in my garden. I don't think they can survive with the low humidity here. I think they would just dry out because I don't see snails either. I've heard about the kind of damage they do. I remember it because I remember it as a kid in our garden back home in Pennsylvania. But and in Turtle Lake, right, when I used to live there, I remember there would be slugs in that garden sometimes. But I think Southwest North Dakota is just too dry for them. But glad to have you, even if you're a little late to the party. Have I ever tried extra fine or fine in my pelicans? No, I have not. What is my 1000? Is that a broad, I think? Let's get out one more pen. No crash that time. Oops, excuse me. No crash that time either. So the 1000 is a. Oh my God, I can't read that. Medium. Huh, looking at the nib, I just said a broad. Looks like that's a medium. I think the flex would be kind of fun, actually, with a fine nib. Okay, and the 800 is a broad. Yeah, you're right. That medium on that, I can't even imagine what their broad is like. I don't think they make a double broad, but I've also heard that sometimes the width on Pelican nibs is a little inconsistent. But yeah, I think it'd be more fun to try and use a fine or an extra fine and really see that line variation. But I enjoy that 1000 anyway. In fact, now that it's out, it may not get put away. So, one more pen vibe. I may just keep it out and ink it up because why not? Yeah, and if I had to keep one of them, definitely the M1000. It's more fun. I have my everyday writer pens. So the M800 sized more like an everyday writer pen, so I don't need it. Okay, is that a broad? No, that is a broad. Okay. The lighting I don't know. I think I'm starting to get a little bit farsighted. I have never worn glasses. I've never needed glasses, but my grandfather was the same way. He never wore glasses until one day he was told, if you want to keep driving, you need to get glasses. And he finally got glasses, and the world just opened up to him. He had no idea how much he had been missing because, his eyesight had just gradually deteriorated. He's gotten more and more farsighted. He discovered he really enjoyed TV. He started reading more. Just so many things that he just had no idea that he'd been missing. Let's see. Oh, yeah, you're talking about the COVID in India. Yeah, that has been hard to see. It bugs me a lot to see people here. Well, people in India and all these countries, like Brazil is pretty bad right now. And I think Africa is about to have a pretty bad outbreak. All these people who would love to get vaccinated and can't. And then we have people here where the vaccine's available and they're just like, it's a hoax. Black Salami or Parker ink? I like Lamy Black, but I definitely have a soft spot for the Parker. Lately, I've been using the Pelican Black because I've got half a liter of it or something that I have to use up. So I'll be using Pelican ink for a while, but I could go with them all. I actually had a couple of years ago, I did a video where I compared black inks, and I was trying to find out which one was the best. And part of best means it works in the pens I use it in, works on cheap paper, looks good, those kind of things. And emotionally, because I just discovered the Aurora 88 and I was just in love with it, emotionally, I was rooting for the Aurora 88, the Aurora Black, which is a nice black ink, but it's not so good on cheap paper. Like I was writing in a notebook with it. I've got Parker Quink washable blue, doesn't bleed through. I've got, I don't know, whatever else I've got inked up right now. None of it bleeding through. Aurora Black, right through the paper. Really? So, but it reminded me why Aurora Black didn't make it. Had to be objective. Yeah, I can see where head damage would cause. Yeah, yikes, that's scary. I did not know Binder advised against Parker. I will have to look for that. I know Binder revises, or is it Bender? Don't know. Anyway, I know he advises against noodlers, except, in a modern pen, it's fine, but the sack fillers and things, he advises against them. Yeah, in my county, I want to say we're like 40% vaccinated here. And the county to the north is like 30% vaccinated. And it's just like, really? They actually came down here, set up a whole thing several times just so people could get vaccinated. Nope. So I don't get that. And I guess there's one active case in the county right now, but we haven't had very many cases just lately. But it can happen, and we're seeing it happen in other parts of the country, like Missouri, where they've got like 20% vaccination rates and stuff, and suddenly this Delta variant is just going nuts. And all these people, they're in the hospital, like, oh, if only I'd gotten the vaccine. And yeah, kind of late now. Ready to vaccinate. Yeah, it's slowed down a lot. Okay, Kaveco Black. I don't know if I've ever used Kaveco Black. I have used Mont Blanc Mystery Black. Somebody gave me a bottle once. I don't see it. I don't remember if I used it up or if it's one of the ones I just put away because it's I'm just focusing on certain inks right now. Oh yeah, the vintage, what was it called? Super Chrome? I think it was called Super Chrome because that's why they invented the Parker 51, if I remember right, because the Parker 51 would keep it from drying out in the pen. That sounds right. And yeah, yellow inks, depending on the brand. I have a Krishna, absolutely gorgeous Kanakona ink that's yellow. That crusts like crazy in like my Platinum President. Actually, maybe I'll put it in one of my Lamis. They seem to hold their seal better. But others, like I've got the, what's it called? The Helianthus. The Rohr and Klingner Helianthus seems to be pretty good. But then some of the diamine inks are very crusty. But yeah, certain ones. Okay, so something about the pH and the flow. Yeah. Okay, I have not heard the term Johnson variant. Yeah, 4 to 5 million people per day sounds like a lot until you remember that India broke the 1 billion number for its population a few years ago. So India has a long ways to go to catch up. Yeah, I was just read about Pfizer wants to do a third dose. Well, they're experimenting with a third dose. We'll see where they're at. But yeah, I wondered. I had the Moderna vaccine, so I haven't heard what Moderna's doing, but I have heard that there may be a possibility we'll need booster shots as these new variants evolve. Maybe one of those things like the flu that every year you have to have your COVID booster. ODE. Oh, so you're sending us some samples. Okay, well, I look forward to getting them. Aurora Black. Yeah, Aurora Black looks good. I just find it's not so good on lower quality paper. And I do a lot of writing on lower quality papers, and it just bleeds through. But a good ink. Well, good morning, Miss Marilyn Darling. Thank you for joining in. I'm kind of surprised. I'm going to open this curtain here because the sun has moved. So now I can open it. This is my cheap way of keeping the heating bill, cheap way of keeping the cooling bill down is block the sun in the morning coming in. I love morning sun, but it really kicks up the cooling bill because it is hot coming in here. So I just close my curtains on the east side of the house and then close them on the west side of the house. But I only have one west-facing window that matters. So, okay. So he's not, because I always thought that the Parker Quink was supposed to be vintage friendly. So he's talking more sorry, I got to get closer to read that. The Super Chrome and all those. Yeah, I can see that. Yes, Califolio is a great ink. I think I've got one in my Schaefer right now. But yeah, Califolio is supposed to be vintage friendly. So I like that. And they've got, they're kind of heavy into certain colors, but I do like their range. I wouldn't mind having more, except I don't need any more ink, so I'm not going to get more. And I don't know how... okay, what's the word I'm looking for? I forgot what I was even going to say. Something about ink. Some other brand of ink. Oh, Birmingham pens. I'm kind of wondering how they are for vintage. I haven't heard much more about them. For the most part, they seem to clean out of pens very well. And I know they have the wishy-washy ones that are supposed to be washable, like, the ink you see on my channel all the time. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what people say about them. 80 outside and 83 inside. I don't like 83 inside, but that's not horrible. That's livable. You can function and do stuff at those temperatures. I don't know what it is outside. My outside thermometer has quit working, so I never can see it. I have to get a new one. But anyway, I like, I'll set it to like 70. Well, this new air conditioner, because it's so energy efficient, I've actually been setting it at 75. But the old one, I would set at 78, which was warm if you're doing anything at all. I don't know. I was headed somewhere with that, and it's gone. Let's see what else. The term was quink. Okay. And I'm wondering if they've changed their quink a little bit, because I know one thing that I used to see on their bottles is that it's got some kind of, is it called Solvex or Dissolvex or something like that that's supposed to clean your pen as you use it, which I don't see that on their bottles anymore. So maybe it ate stuff. And I know they had a line of inks back in the 90s called the Penman inks, because I used to have a bottle of the Penman. I had a bottle of Penman Black, and then I had some cartridges of the Penman Emerald, and I loved the looks of the Penman Emerald, but I guess they were a little unfriendly too. Yeah, blue inks is what Califolio is very heavy on. And no, I haven't seen samples at Birmingham. Okay, I may have to go search out your Blizzard Twinkle video. I guess the only thing I haven't I have a couple of the sparkly inks, not from Birmingham pens. Mine are all Girbon. The only thing I've not liked with the sparkles is they sometimes stay in the pen and they're kind of hard to get out. And then you let it sit overnight and they settle. And I just, sparkles just too much work for me. My furniture pens, I'm guessing you mean future update of my future pens. I don't know. I don't have. I showed some earlier in the video. I've got a couple more here, a few Chinese ones. I've got this. Oops! Now I got to turn this light back on. This Esterbrook transitional pen. Oops. Okay, this is horrible. That's got a nice story. I got an Indian pen someone sent me. I don't know much about it. It's an eyedropper filler, and it's ginormous. So that'll be one of these days. That might be a way to use up a lot of ink, especially if I don't use Parker Quink washable blue for to fill it up. What's this one? Oh, I got a Chinese vintage here. I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's a Wing Sung, I forget its model, but that'll be a review because I have actually written with it. I like it. What's this one? Okay, I can't read it. Oh, got to be a Geha because it has the little button on the back of the feed. So it's a Geha of some kind. And oh yeah, I don't want to buy a modern Parker 51, but Jinhao came out with something like that. So I'm going to look at that instead. Yeah, Noodler's Conrad. In fact, I like to use either the Noodler's Conrad with the sparkly ones, or I have a what's it called? A stub nib in one of in a Conrad. That's what I really like, even better than the Flex with the sparkly inks. Because you're right, you just pull it out and it just cleans. Learned that the hard way because, obviously if I'm talking about cleaning, I must have put some sparkly ink into a pen that was much harder to clean out. Oh, my very nice wooden cases. They have not changed. I need to work on organizing them better, but yeah. Okay, so Solvex is a fungicide and a surfactant. Okay, and you just got a Parker Victory. That, trying to remember, that one I think is similar to this Parker Slim Fold. And a Tropen Gold pen. Now that one sounds interesting. That sounds German. Yeah, I'm kind of at that too many pens, but yeah, I see some I want. So is your 51? Oh, 51A. Okay, yeah, that's the Jinhao. So I'm looking forward to trying it. Yeah, I didn't expect this to go on for 2 hours and 30 minutes either. I just realized what time it is. I probably do need to get some stuff done. Got a grocery shop yet today, and maybe eat lunch and get out of this chair. Shimmer inks. Yeah, stub nibs are good. And the 992 is another one you can just pull it out if you have to. So, okay, Mark V dual fold and then pen of its own. Okay. Yeah, and I think the Victory pens were a British model. They weren't really sold here in the United States. I know I've seen them on parkerpens.net, but I don't know. Well, I'm on a pen buying hiatus for the summer anyway, so just relax and enjoy what I have and get some more pens cleaned up and fixed up. That's part of the fun. But anyway, I do think it's been 2 hours and 31 minutes, which, oh my God, I can't believe it went this long. But anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. I'm glad some of you stuck with me this long. It was a long one. I'm going to do this again. I'll try to announce in advance again. And although I was scared that I had screwed it up, I'm glad I didn't screw it up. So, okay, yeah, physics channel. That's just one more thing to do. I'm going to stick with the books and the driving videos for a while, but I think it would be fun to actually do some teaching on YouTube, but we'll see. Thank you all for joining me, and and thank you for the update. Oh, that's why I know Tropen. Okay, thank you. Now that makes sense. So thank you all. I am still writing with my Draco. Whoops, and I turned the light off again. Loving it very much. In fact, I'm down to like 2 videos I'm going to show next week. Not sure which one, but the Draco has got a very strong possibility because it's inked up again, and I'm with something kind of fun. So something. Oh, I put it away. But anyway, so yeah, I may be showing that one next week. So hopefully you're doing well. So thank you, everyone. And now for real, I'm going to say goodbye. But yeah, thank you all for joining in. It was fun. So we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Oh, sorry you missed your workout. Yeah, I'm going to have to get up and move now because too much sitting. So, but it's the weekend. Oops. And it's still not off.